Welcome back to another Climb Together podcast episode. This is episode number 16. How y'all doing today? It's your girl ToNage, one of your co-hosts, ToNaGeScorp, and I got my friend here, also co-host, Deception the Rapper. Deception, say hi.
Yeah, what's up?
Thank you for tuning in to this episode, whether you're on Twitch Live right now or you're listening elsewhere, like on YouTube or any other place where you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We've got a lot to talk about today, mainly because of two things. There's a lot of current events going on in like gaming and in the world itself, and the CDL major, the first one of this 2022 season, was happened this past weekend. So I think we're gonna delve into that first, kind of like get into it, get into the nitty gritty, and like have some hype, because it was a pretty exciting weekend. I actually watched some CDL matches this weekend, which is rare.
Yeah, you can actually offer some insight.
I know, it's crazy. I'm not just sitting here going, oh yeah, Like I actually watched a couple, and I'm proud of myself for that one. I did fall asleep during one of them though, and because I got out of work and I'm like, oh, I finally have, I can catch this last game of the day. What was it? It was Boston versus, who were they playing against? Deception, Saturday night.
Saturday night they played Ultra.
Okay, I watched the Boston versus Ultra map, and I did fall asleep during it, part of it. And then Risk got home. She's like, "Why are you sleeping?" I'm like, "I was watching Call of Duty and I got tired." And then I fell asleep, but then I woke up and watched the rest of the match, and it was pretty epic, so. They really drag those things on, and I think they drag it on so you can, like, fall asleep, take a nap, and then wake up and still catch the end of the match.
Yeah, honestly, I'm glad that they don't take nearly as long of a break between Game 2s and Game 3s this year, because last year I felt like I could have literally made a sandwich, ate it, took a nap, went on a bus ride, and came back, and I'd be back for Game 3.
Yo, for real.
Like, I don't know what it was last year, but last year their break between Game 2 and Game 3 was just atrociously long.
For what reason, though? That's they just put so long of a break.
They've trimmed it down a lot, so.
That's good, because it loses retention, And I think they might have noticed that, and that's why it's not as long now, but, you win some, you lose some.
I mean, we did have the highest, it did have the highest viewership in COD League history so far this weekend.
Ooh. That's what's up.
Grand Finals peaked at 186,000 viewers.
Nice. So, I'm gonna spoil it for you guys. If you guys don't already know, Optic won, which we called last week. If you guys weren't here, we called that. We called Optic winning.
I mean, we didn't predict it perfectly, but
we were pretty close though.
What we really wanted in our minds actually happened, and that was an Optic versus Faze grand final.
Oh yeah. I mean, we said, we're like, hey, listen, Deception, did you change your scene to the Climb Together podcast scene?
Yep.
Okay, just checking. But I mean, we wanted to see the Optic versus Faze twice, but we were like trying to make it a little bit more exciting. We are content creators at heart, and we like, we're content creators at heart, and we're like we're Call of Duty competitive absorbers at heart too, and we want to see some like really good matches. So that's kind of what we predicted, with some really good matches, and I feel like we got really good matches either way.
I mean, like I said last time, the only thing that would be better entertainment value wise was Optic versus Faze grand final, and that's what happened.
And they faced each other twice, and Optic won both times, and I was like, hey, yo, let's go. Which was pretty exciting. Oh my god, sorry, I had like a burp. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But, in going into this, it was kind of like a make or break for a couple of teams. Like, a lot of teams showed up, and a couple of them didn't. Optic finally showed up. We've been waiting for them to kind of like, be like, hey, we're back! Because they haven't had like a really great... They haven't really had like a great time in the CDL so far, and they really like said, we're back, baby. We're here to stay. So let's talk about the final placement, which I think is pretty interesting, actually, if we think about it. So the way the prizing works is the bottom 4 teams didn't win anything, and the other teams did. But let's go into it. Let's talk about it. So in 11th, 12th place, we had Subliners and Seattle Surge. And let me tell you, seeing Subliners down there is kind of rough because they have such a like they have good players, but they just like not putting together well. You know?
Yeah, they're definitely not I don't know what's going on with them for sure, but it's not looking good.
And you guys probably want to
Um
see this, huh? Probably should bring this up, so I'm not just looking. There you go. Sorry. As you were saying, Deception.
yeah, Subliners they're not having a good time. They just crumbled. They just did not play well at all this weekend.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I mean, they're like they showed up during pool play. You know, they were a team to be reckoned with for the first part of the season, but they kind of just fell off. Seeing them, in the bottom two is just like, oh man, you don't expect to see them there. Expect to see Paris there.
I mean, especially like in the S&D, they just looked lost. I mean, they looked like they had no idea what they were doing, and it just I don't know. I don't know what's next for them either. That's the problem. Like I really could not tell you what their next move should be
They really
because
just I mean, the best move that they can do is just get back in the workshop and look over what happened and figure out how to like get better.
I mean nothing that I've seen is confirmed, but um I've heard some rumors that Clay and Krim had like some sort of verbal conflict before their match on Thursday or
Oh,
on Friday, and then I've heard things like Clay unfollowed NYSL and then followed him back. I've heard a lot of like interesting things that have transpired over the weekend since they lost.
well, that'll make for a nice, interesting next few weeks, I think, as we go on to the next
It's just I don't know,
stage.
bro. Like it's so weird.
Yeah, I agree. It is pretty weird.
Like the whole NYSL situation is just so weird because it's like I almost feel like they can't play with Crim and Clay. Like I almost feel like one of them has to go.
Yeah. I mean, they did team before, so you would think that would give them some sort of like chemistry moving forward, but they won together before, and that's like going into this, everyone's just like, yeah, like they're gonna do well. They have that chemistry. They're both like veterans in the league, and they've won multiple times, separately, and they've won together. You would think you would see them at least in the top 8, not in the bottom 4, like we see them right now.
Yeah, and it's like I mean they like you said they have like such a history uh with each other. Like they won a championship. They won multiple championships together. Like and they both had success outside of playing with each other. So they've definitely shown that they're not just good with each other. But I don't know. It just like I think a lot of the problem is just the way that Vanguard plays. It just doesn't really fit with two people like them because granted they are both still cracked, like they can still play really well, but I feel like having two older school players together on a team now just kind of brings the team down.
You know what it could be also is like they are two old school players with two new guys, so they could be having like it could be an ego thing too. At the end of the day, they could be fighting over, oh, I know more than you, because one of them's gonna try to take lead. You know what I mean? One of them's try to be the leader of the team. Like, I know more than you, and like try to like guide
Well,
both
and
of
I've
the new
heard stuff
guys.
like that. I've heard stuff that like Neptune has said that they're really hard people, like they're just very hard on their teammates and like, they have expectations and stuff like that, but it's just like it's a hard like it's really like a fine line to cross right there because part of it's like, well, they're hard on you because they want you to be the best that you can be, and you're like a young talent, so they're trying to build you. So you need to learn how to take that. And then part of it's like, well, maybe they are too hard on them and they need to like simmer down a little bit. But I don't know. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
hard for me to even tell what the fix is going to be for New York.
yeah, they better find one soon because if I'm gonna go to this major, you know what I mean, in July, they better show up at least a little bit.
Yeah.
you know? Because I'm gonna be out there, and I'm not really. I don't like living in New York, but and I like my Optic team. You know what I mean? And I like my Faze, and I like my Thieves. But if I'm gonna be in New York City at a New York Subliners LAN event, I'm gonna be cheering on New York, man. And if they disappoint me, not gonna be good. Not gonna be good.
I don't know. I don't know what's next for him. I
I
mean,
wanna wear my New York Subliners stuff that I have yet to order. But I'm not gonna order it if they don't start playing well. You know what I mean? I'll pull out my Hex hat and my Good Vibrations collection that I bought and support Optic. You know what I mean? Like I
uh,
got Optic stuff. I mean, some of it's at Rissa's house because she stole it from me, but we will.
imagine Rich just shows up at school wearing Hex Quarters merch, and everybody's like, "What?"
She does though. She does. She has one of the shirts that I have, and she takes it with her to school. And oh my
I
god, it
wonder
has
if
like a.
anybody said anything about it yet.
I don't know. She goes to a really small school, so maybe not. Who
Yeah, that
knows?
was kind of the thing about when I was in school is when I was a fan of like esports and stuff like that, like nobody understood it. Like there was maybe like a few people that like really understood it, but they
I
didn't.
mean, nowadays a lot more people know about it and follow it, so it's. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different now,
But yeah,
but I mean, as far as New York goes, I'm lost. I don't know
it's
what they need to do.
they need to figure something out though. And then the other bottom two, in ninth and 10th place, we got Florida sub. Oh my goodness, Florida subliners. Don't. Maybe I need to drink some coffee this morning. I don't know. We got the Florida Mutineers and the Los Angeles Gorillas in ninth and 10th. Also winning nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
LAG got double swiped,
yeah.
destroyed. So did Florida.
I don't know, man. Like I just like Florida has been like a pretty dominant team in years. Not a dominant team, but they've been a pretty good team. They I really didn't see them in the
They
bottom
were
four.
dominant in Modern Warfare. I mean,
Oh
after
yeah,
they picked up Awakening, they won 3 home series in a row, but
yeah. I mean, like you think about it, and you're like, oh, that was one of the teams you rarely, if ever, saw in the bottom four of a tournament, let alone a major. You know what I mean?
yeah, like, if you would've told me going into, like if you would've told me after Modern Warfare that Florida would be toward the bottom almost every tournament through Cold War and Vanguard, I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, they were nasty last year.
Yeah, like they like it's sad to see. Sad to see.
It's sad to see considering, like, they started off, like, pretty good,
Yeah.
like, this year, like, when you look at, like, scrims and stuff, like, first little bit, they were grinding, and they were, like, you could say they were one of the better teams, but then they just fell off. I don't know what happened.
Hmm. Who knows? And then this is what's surprising to me. Okay, in seventh and eighth, we have Minnesota Rocker and Paris Legion. Paris Legion didn't like flat out get rocked,
They actually won a
which
series.
is like, whew, crazy.
They beat Seattle Surge. Optic 3-0'd
That's
'em.
saying that's saying
They
something
went
though.
down to Paris, and, Paris ended up beating the Surge. It was wild. I watched that series.
That's
That was
just
crazy.
beyond me.
That
And
was a
and
good series.
and I'll give it to them. Their Twitter game has been a little bit better, so maybe that has some sort of correlation. They've been tweeting a little bit more on Twitter.
I
Not a
don't know,
lot more, but a
I don't
little
know if
bit.
this is like a is this is like a honeymoon phase because they picked up Gravity for this event and all that.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're probably gonna stick with Gravity since they actually won a series. They
Yep.
won a series for the first time this year. But, I mean, I couldn't tell you if it's a honeymoon phase or not, but they did play well. They
Mhm.
actually won that series, and they looked good against Surge.
So,
So,
Paris Legion may be back, in like because during Modern Warfare they had like a pretty solid team. They were winning they were winning here and there
they
too.
took a map off of Frost and Breach
Eh,
too, so
I mean, is Paris Legion coming back to one of the somewhat okay teams and not the bottom all the time? That was one of the
well,
predictions that kind
I
of
don't know if
went.
they've ever been one of the somewhat okay teams, but I think they've literally always just been at the bottom. It's just sometimes they show some signs that they still exist.
Mhm. And I think that's where one of our predictions kind of. I mean, for the most part, like our predictions were pretty spot on, but I feel like that one was really one of the
Our
ones that we
predictions
did
really
not see coming.
crumbled a little bit when it came to the losers bracket because
Yeah.
Um, we like when it came to winners bracket, we were 3 for 4.
Mhm.
Um, the only the only series that we picked wrong was Thieves versus Ultra. But um, I mean, our predictions really crumbled when it came to the losers bracket. Like I said, like there was a lot of stuff that happened in losers bracket that people didn't really expect, and
Which is
that's just
good.
a product of land. I
That's good
mean,
though. We like unpredictability, it makes it a little bit more exciting to watch. If you can predict every outcome, like i- if like if the thing is like it could have gone either way to Phase or Optic in the
yep.
predictions, you know what I mean? But, thinking about it a little bit more, it is an Optic major, and if you guys didn't watch or see like clips from the weekend, like it was hype. Like it was probably one of the best crowds ever.
Crowd really got behind them the
Oh
whole
yeah.
time. I mean,
Eh,
it was whenever Optic played, it was like, and I've heard this multiple times, but granted, like you could hear the crowd like through the little crowd mic that they put at the bottom
mm,
of the stage and stuff like that. But like I've heard so many accounts saying that the crowd was way louder than what the mic actually was picking up.
oh yeah. Because like they probably like capped out the mic with how loud they were being. You know what I mean? But the thing is, at the same time, like people miss land.
They
You know what I
probably
mean?
did, to be honest, because I felt like, I mean, I watched like every series, but I felt like the first series when they played against Surge, the crowd was louder on the stream than it was the rest of the weekend.
Maybe they did
So
like
they
some
might
like
have capped up the mic.
yeah. But I don't know. Just that land environment is so crazy. You know what I mean?
I love LAN, dude. I'm so glad
Too,
we're
bro.
playing on LAN again.
Me too. I like it. I like it a lot. It brings a different element to
And
um.
seeing like the vibe of the esports arena and stuff like
Mm,
that just makes me want to go to a LAN event, like, because it's wild.
tis wild indeed. I'm just kind of like
I will say one team that surprised me was London Royal Ravens. I
yeah.
I said that they would beat LAG. Um I figured that would happen, but they came out and smoked Ultra and sent Ultra to losers bracket. And that was really cool to see. Granted they did lose to Optic, but I think that was right when Optic was starting to really feel themselves, because obviously Optic 3-0'd Surge. They looked really good there.
Mm-hmm.
Um They beat Faze 3-2, which was a reverse sweep. That was insane. I mean, Faze, it didn't look like a commanding like series like it did at Anaheim 3 years ago, but Faze definitely looks like they had the upper hand, and it looked a little bit dire coming from Optic going into the control, but Optic they just turned it up.
They said we're not losing. We're gonna we're gonna step up and
They played so well in the control and the hard point. Um, everybody was going off. Scump was running the third AR, and I think that paid off because he ended up going 33 and 14 and had 29 non-traded kills. Um, and they destroyed FaZe in that hard point. And then the Surge and Destroy. I mean, the series was honestly like, everybody's gonna say it's one of the best series that they've seen, but like honestly, I feel like it could have been better. I mean, granted, I'm glad that Optic won. I'm glad that it didn't come to this, but if it would have been like around 9 or 10 or 11, it would have been better. But
mm-hmm.
that last S&D was just embarrassing on FaZe's part because Optic 6-0'd them, and it was just the easiest thing. Like they literally made it look like they were playing pubs.
That's not good, when you're playing
I
at a
think
professional
that's I
level.
think that was the beginning of the end for FaZe, as far as like, obviously FaZe kept winning series and got to the grand finals, but I feel like after getting reverse swept by Optic at their home event and hearing the crowd and all that, I feel like FaZe started to crumble a little bit. Because they got 6-0 in that S&D. I mean, the Optic made it look like they were just FaZe wasn't even playing the game. Um, but yeah, we had a bunch of really good series.
Oh yeah.
If you look at like, granted, it didn't go their way, but FaZe versus Thieves was really good. Thieves really showed up against them. I think there could have been a couple things that go their way, and Thieves could have won that. pretty easily, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I think that's where Faze is about to crumble because I mean, Thieves look good, but they honestly could have easily beaten Faze, like I said, but
Listen,
the
the thing
Ultra
of
versus Breed series was really good.
mhm.
I mean, we had a lot of good series this weekend.
Thing is like every dynasty has to come to an end at some point, you know?
Yep. I
And
mean,
it's looking
I
like
honestly think
phases is
FaZe will probably have their time this year. I think they'll probably take at least one major,
oh yeah.
but I don't know if they'll take two or not.
I like that though, because they took pretty much every single one last year.
Yeah, they took three last year, plus champs.
And I like to
But
see variety. One of my favorite things. And competitiveness. I like to see the
I will
variety
say
of it
one
all.
series that surprised me a lot was Ultra versus FaZe. I thought Ultra could probably beat them with how FaZe had been looking, especially in respawn.
Oh yeah.
But FaZe 3 0'd them. I don't know what Ultra was doing. I literally I don't know what happened. I don't know if I don't know if their controllers were broken. I don't know if their eyes were broken, but they got smoked by FaZe. I mean,
Hmm.
FaZe made it look easy. And I definitely thought that series probably would have went to a game 5 if you'd have asked me before it happened, but
Now,
wasn't the greatest showing out of Ultra.
it sucks to see though. I as much as I love, Phase and I support like Phase in general, um, I like to see people win that weren't expected to. And I like upsets, I like underdogs. It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite things of watching
That's the
competitive
same thing with like when
anything.
Ravens played FaZe in losers finals. I think a lot of people wanted to see an Optic versus Ravens final, but
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like an Optic versus Phase final was still good though. I mean,
yeah, the Optic versus FaZe final
it brings the
was
rivalry
definitely the
back.
best outcome that could have happened.
Oh yeah, I think it brings the
Especially with
rivalry
what had
back.
just happened on Saturday, oh, that grand final was nuts. I mean, obviously, we'll have to talk a lot about the grand final because I mean that was a best of 9 series. That was where Optic sealed the deal, but FaZe just looked so bad at respawn. They just they didn't win a single respawn. The only two maps that they won were Search and Destroy. Um, I mean, Optic just was so commanding in respawn in the grand final. I mean, they looked like FaZe did in respawn last year. Um, and
Yeah,
I
but
will say
Optic has
one
always
of
been a really good respawn team.
I mean, they have been a good respawn team, but uh, they just, I mean, they were just holding FaZe down. They just could not, FaZe could not stop them. It seemed like FaZe would especially and this is gonna be a big point of contention for a lot of people that watched the grand final, but that game 3 Gavutu control, which was pretty controversial at times, but that game 3 Gavutu control, FaZe, they had Optic 6 or 7 down and pinned in their spawn and at the first part of the in the first round. And and Optic just killed all of FaZe and just pushed up and the round was over in no time. Like it was just stuff like that. There were so many little retakes that Optic could do that would just put FaZe in the ground. And one thing that happened in that series was Optic okay, so Optic goes up 2-0 in the series or in the control and they're looking to close it out. And then there's a little timeout that happens. FaZe takes a timeout. Each team has one allotted timeout per series um, that they can take, or per game, I think. But FaZe takes a timeout, and it only lasts 5 or 10 seconds. It was like we're taking the timeout. Oh, we're back, and nobody really knew at the time what the timeout was for. I mean, a lot of people honestly thought maybe they're trying to ice Optic. Maybe they're trying to maybe they're trying to make Optic be like, oh, why'd they take a timeout and then lose the rounds? Uh, but that's kind of what happened in a way because then FaZe knocks off 2 rounds in a row, and it's like, oh, well, this is gonna be close. And they end up going to that last round, and Optic has defense, but FaZe starts really putting Optic down. Like they start stringing kills together. It looks like they're gonna pull off the reverse sweep in the control, and then it's 5 versus 18.
Mm-hmm.
Optic have 5 lives left, and FaZe have 18. And Optic just starts stringing together kills, and everybody's like, "What's happening?" Like FaZe cannot get a kill, and it goes all the like Optic ends up winning the round from a 5 versus 18, and everybody's like, "How did that happen?" Like there's no way that FaZe choked that bad. And then Arcides is like, he takes his headset off, and he's like trying to get the ref to come over. Apparently, Arcides was lagging. I don't know how you lag on land, but Arcides was lagging and having problems. And so during that 5 versus 18, Arcides was like in the back of the map, I guess trying to yell at a ref or fix his issue, and he wasn't moving. And I don't know why the refs didn't end the game if this was a problem, but what ended up happening is they had to replay the round. And granted, it's really good that they didn't replay the whole game, because I feel like FaZe might have won if they replayed the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that would have demoralized Optic a little bit. That would have probably took them down a little bit, but they ended up replaying the round, and the only caveat to that was before the round 5, Scump had a glide bomb, and he did not get his glide bomb back. A lot of people were talking about that. But ultimately, it didn't matter because Optic just ran FaZe into the ground in that last round. Everybody thought it was going to be scary because FaZe would have a chance to win, and like Scump didn't have his glide bomb, so it wasn't like people were saying it wasn't fair. But then Optic just smokes them. I mean, Optic just ran straight through them, and the rest of the series is kind of like the same thing. It's just in the respawns, Optic was just smoking them. Like FaZe really had no chance, and FaZe took a couple S&Ds off of them. Granted, both of them were close. But that last Berlin S&D, it just it was pretty close. Um, but Optic ended up taking it. And that's the series. Optic wins the major. It was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching through like some of these clips, and they're just pretty good. Yeah, they're not, you know.
It was wild. Like I have never seen FaZe crumble like that. Like that's the thing is like FaZe have always been known as like they're super cracked and they're extremely good at respawn. But like they didn't win a single respawn in grand finals. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the another thing that I didn't bring up earlier, one of the craziest things that happened this weekend was um in all of uh in all of their matches and all of their maps, Ultra did not win a hard point until they played FaZe in losers. They had made it. They had won their series against Thieves and won their series against Breach without winning a hard point. That was kind of weird. Everybody was wondering if they would make it to grand finals without winning a hard point.
No, but like watching through like I'm on like the Call of Duty Twitter right now, and I've pulled up on stream, but like watching these clips of like Optic, you know what I mean? Aaron said it in the chat, you know, this was Optic's weekend, you know what I mean? It should have been, you know, it should be. You know, they needed this kind of like home crowd where they could just you'd be like, yeah, we're back.
You should have
You know what I mean?
seen what Cammy almost did against the Thieves. Let me see if I can find it.
100% complete. We have a
Um,
complete bracket too, by the way. I probably should have brought this up earlier, but we are complete bracket for us.
I think it was Cammy that did it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like for the most part, we were pretty on bar. I mean, as far as you know, everything went.
Yeah, but like there
Breaches
was I
though,
don't know.
Breach though kind of came out of nowhere and made it into the top 6, and you know I feel like that's a really good show out for their first
Yeah, they
like
played well. They played well.
I watched the
I
Breach
like their
versus
style.
Ultra match, and that was after a long day of work. I was not awake for the entire thing, like I said, but
That was
it was
honestly a
very
little bit
exciting.
heartbreaking because I kinda thought they would win that, to be
Yo,
honest.
for
The way
real
Ultra
though?
was looking.
Oh yeah, and then like the comeback that kind of gave methods, you know what I mean? Like after
Yeah.
getting kicked off the team and whatnot, and then like him winning would have just been so much better personally, and then would have put Boston Breach in the top four, I believe. So
I will say one thing that didn't probably make the TL because he didn't clutch it, but in the Ultra versus Thieves in the game 2, the Tuscan S&D, Cammy got put in a 1v4, but he got a 3-piece, and if he hadn't been running at the door when the last guy challenged it, he would have got a 4-piece in a 1v4.
yeah,
Because he got behind him and he got a 3-piece because he killed one and they kind of like scattered. Like they didn't like they bunched up and scattered and they didn't know where he went and he killed the other two. And then the last guy busted through the door right when he was running at it with a pistol and he didn't have time to
damn.
react. If you'd have killed that guy, it would have been a 4-piece 1v4.
But yeah, in hindsight, when Optic did the reverse sweep, Faze didn't want to let this opportunity go. You
Yeah,
know what?
I
I feel
mean,
like
I
I'm glad.
definitely don't think FaZe need to be too worried
Yeah, they literally
because
win all
they're
the time.
still really good, but I mean, they kind of crumbled on land. I mean,
Yeah, they're not doing as good as they usually do. You know what I mean? Like the
like I said,
Faze.
they didn't win a respawn. The
Yeah.
team that was so good at respawn last year, the team that was unstoppable in control,
Mm-hmm.
didn't win a single respawn.
Agreed. This season is going to be interesting. I like it, because last season it was like, yeah, FaZe is the best team. We all know they're going to win. Like there's a chance that they won't, but we all know deep down that they would, and they did. And this year it's like we don't know. Like there's a few teams that really are good contenders, and there's another team like other teams that are kind of down lower that have the potential if they really like unlock it to kind of just take off and make it all the way.
I mean, granted, there's only 4 majors, so we can't say that these teams are going to win a major each.
No.
But I think there's easily 5 to 6 teams that could easily win a major if the odds even swung a little bit in their favor. And there's some other teams that definitely could win a major if they improve a little bit more. Like I would say Optic, Phase, London, Ultra, Thieves, those are 5 teams that could easily win a major.
Oh yeah.
Um and I would say the other team would be Surge. I mean, granted they kind of looked like last year's Surge during this tourney, but I
I feel
think
like
if
they'll
they
regroup.
I think if they come back and they regain, they go back to the lab and work a little bit, I think they could easily win a major.
Agreed. Think of all this like the teams that didn't perform last year will perform better this year. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Like a lot of the teams that haven't been performing in previous, years, like they're finally like kind of showing up a little bit. I mean, we still have like our top, you got our top people, but it's kind of
Yeah, I
nice
mean,
to
Optic,
see
Phase, Ultra
Optic.
are like up there, but
Yeah, but the thing
you
is,
know,
is like
seeing
Optic's been
people
kind
like
of
the
like not
Thieves
winning.
in London, who like I think the Thieves in London or the 2 teams that made the most roster changes last year, and they both kind of had turmoil over the year. Seeing them as high as they were felt really good, especially London looking at top 3 because like at one point last year, London and Paris were kind of fighting for who's the worst team, and now London's up in third, and they're looking good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to see some differences. I feel like they're kind of like closes. Oh, plus we had Maven and Merc this weekend, which was pretty lit.
Yeah, Maven and Merc was dope. I mean, I wish they would have casted the grand finals, but it's fine.
Fine, it's whatever. But let's kind of like take this and kind of like segue into a new conversation because I feel like we kind of like really got into that. Like we took about 30 minutes talking about the CDL, which was needed. You know what I mean? It was a pretty hype weekend. It
Yeah, I
was
mean, we just capped off a major, so
yeah. We gotta delve into a little bit, which we did. Alrighty, now deception. I just want to point out one thing while deception thinks about the next topic we're gonna talk about. Um,
oh boy.
I sent this is the tweet that I saw at the beginning of the podcast. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to segue into it. But speaking of like, Optic and Honor Thieves and everything, Nate's shot last tournament win in COD was on this day in 2015. That was 7 years
Yep.
ago.
Yeah, that
No,
was
not
the
on
North
this day.
American.
It was the July 17th. No, no, it was this
No,
day.
it was
It
today.
was today. Sorry, I'm just dumb.
Well, it
Um,
was yesterday.
well, yesterday. Yes, you're correct.
It
March
was
8th.
yesterday.
March
But
8th was his
yeah, that was
last competition. And now, from that time to now, he has become a creator,
yep, that was basically a
CEO.
tournament where that was basically like a tournament like the regional finals were just tournaments where
Oh, oh, sorry. Yeah, it was like a pretty good.
they like you qualify for champs off of this tournament, but that this time it wasn't just, "Oh, we're qualified for champs, we're good." They actually offered a prize pool for the team that could win the tourney, and
Mhm.
I mean, Optic were the dynasty team. They were just too good at that point. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like you look
granted,
at the
like it's
roster.
kind of sad because they didn't win champs and they kind of crumbled.
Mhm.
You know, they up pulling out the HBR, but
Yeah, but
uh,
you look at the like you look at the team, you look at the squad. You've got Nate Shot, you got Scump, you've got Krim, you've got
I mean,
Formal.
Scump was only 20 at that point, bro.
Yeah, like he was young. Like he's 2 years. At this point in time, he's 2 years older than I am. Like think about
Yeah,
that, you
Nate
know.
Shot was the oldest player on the team at this point.
Mhm.
I think he was only like 24.
Yeah. You're right, Aaron. Nate Shot is trying to be a mini Hex, but I don't think that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like Hex is a really great person to model after. He's done a lot and he's
I mean,
achieved a
look
lot.
at the success of 100 Thieves. I
Mhm.
mean, he's modeling after Hex and having just the same success.
Even better if you think about it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, if you look at I mean, I don't think that right now his overall uh his image is as good as Hex because he's just not been around long enough. But his success is there. Like he has definitely pulled off uh
like,
more than Hex did in his first few years.
hmm like, and if you look at it, 100 Thieves is one of the best organizations in the world at this time, as
Yep.
far as like gaming goes, and kind of like as other organizations outside of gaming as well. Like they're really successful. They have a really great like team behind them. Not only like content creators and streamers and stuff, but like behind the scenes too, like creative directors and the sorts along that line. They're doing partnerships with like anime,
Yep.
shows and
They did
in
a partnership with Halo. They sold
Halo,
merch.
Gucci, like Gucci. You know what I mean? Like Gucci, they got with. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it's pretty interesting. And what is it? I think it's this week. I think it's the 11th. I think it's when they have their Attack on Titan Time 100 Thieves pop up shop. I think.
Yeah.
Like their merch game is on point. Like if I
The
wasn't
hoodie
broke,
org,
if I
yeah.
was not broke.
Yeah, dude, I would love to get some 100 Thieves merch at some point, but um another thing that we should talk about uh that I don't know, it's not really gotten that much traction, but I think it will the more people talk about it.
Mhm.
The conversation of who's the greatest COD player of all time is kind of like resurfaced. A lot
Ooh.
of people are starting to think maybe it's not Krim. Because when you look at I mean, granted, like Scump has not had as much overall success in his career as Krim. Um, Part of it was with Krim, but um, Scump has genuinely had more longevity than Krim,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are valuing longevity in esports now. If
Oh.
you want to look at if you want to look at stats, this Optic Major win for Scump was his 30th tournament win. It's 10 less than Krim, or not 7 less than Krim, because Krim has 37. But this was now that Scump has won on Vanguard, he has won on 10 different Call of Duty games.
True. And how
He's
many
won
has
in
Krim?
10 different games, all the way from Black Ops 1 to Vanguard. Krim has only won in, I think, 6 or 7 COD games. Granted, he started later. He was in Black Ops 2. So let's see. He won in Black Ops 2, won in Ghost. He won an AW. He won in BO3. He won an IW. Did not win in World War II. Did not win in BO. Or he won in BO4 because they won Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Won in Modern Warfare.
I don't think he won a Black Ops though.
Did not win in
Cold War.
Cold War. He's won in 9 Call of Duty games.
Not 10 though.
And Scump has had a longer career. Scump has been
Mhm.
at it for 11 years now.
And he's still going. He's still, making people, and he started really, really young too. Like he started like competing while he's still in high school, and now look at him. He's gonna be
Yeah, Scump was 16 when he played in
yeah,
his first event, and he won his first event.
yeah.
I mean, he had played on like small lands, so he definitely wasn't new to land. But his first like major Call of Duty event with a pro team against other pro teams, he won. And he only had a week of preparation. He joined that team had TP on it and Aches, which was
Mhm.
crazy. But he joined that team a week before the major because one of their guys dipped, and they showed up and won it.
And that
So
was like a big deal back then too, because roster changes was not really a thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean roster changes weren't as publicized back then, and it just didn't happen like it does now.
Mhm.
Um, I mean obviously it happens less now than it did before the CDL, but like we didn't see a whole ton of like after every event there's like 15 roster changes like we did back in like BO3 days. Like
Yeah.
it was if there was a roster change, it was like it was kind of major. Especially when it came to like the more top teams in the game. So when Scump came on, I mean, he showed up. Uh, but and it wasn't just like, especially in that tournament, it wasn't just that he was playing on a good team that was already projected to do well. He popped off in that tournament. He played super well. Um, I know like this is one of the most popular clips from that tournament and from Scump's career, but in the last game of the series, when they won that grand finals, he started off 18-4.
Damn.
Yeah, he was popping off.
So here's something I want to talk about because it happened this past week, and I feel like that's pretty. I feel like we should really talk about it because we've been kind of talking about it slowly and but surely throughout the weeks it's been going on. Um, the top 100 for Phase 1 was announced last Thursday.
Yep.
The remainder of the top 100. I have it pulled up the list of the people that are in the top 100, so we can go ahead and take a little bit of a look at that. I have it nice and set up too, so you can vouch on here too and see their videos. Looking at
There's
this,
one person that I know that made the top 100.
who's that?
Horizon, because Taylor played with her, an attorney, and Taylor's played with her quite a bit lately. She
Horizon.
made, I think she was like 63 or 64 out of 100.
Dope. But yeah, so they've got everyone listed here, so you can actually go on the website and like vote. Who you want. I know her, Big Sakura. But yeah, there's like, and the thing is like, I've been paying attention to this, and this list, there's a couple people that were on there, in the top 100, like Ernesto, Faria, are some names that are familiar.
There's
12th
a lot of like
Hour,
really cool people.
like those three, like I remember from the top 100 for the Phase 5. But there's a lot of new names on here. Like there's a lot of new people that either didn't go for it last time or, you know, did go for it, but got better sense. So it's really great to see new people in this top 100, and I like it. I like it, and there's a very good variety of people too, and I also like that as well. Red Vines was in it last time, I think. Potter was. I don't look at names here, but there's a lot of new names, and I like to see it. Um, you know, I mean, I wish my name was up there, or like one of my homies' name was up there. But you know what? Congrats to these people. They obviously earned it. And then for you guys that didn't make it, and went out and tried like myself, there's always next time. You know what I mean? Take this and watch these videos and see what they did. You know what I mean? See what all these people have in common, and see what all these people have in common. Be like, yo, like, oh, okay, that's just what they all have in common, and then you kind of like not mold yourself to them, but like kind of like apply that same thing to you and just become better, do a little bit of self-reflection.
Yep.
I think that's what these recruitment challenges are really good for. A lot of people hate on them, especially when they're with big organizations like FAZE. But it's a great time to just reflect on your own content and be like, hey, what am I doing good? What am I doing not good? Like, what could I do better next time? Because these recruitment challenges happen all the time, not just with FAZE, but with other, bigger organizations, smaller organizations. There's recruitment challenges all the time. And I bet you right now, now that FAZE1's going on, all these other organizations are going to do them too. Because like, oh yeah, we could do a recruitment challenge. That'd be so cool, Because they see all the publicity that FAZE is getting from it, and they want the same publicity. So if you want to, go out, just go into Google, explore, go into here. I'll do this right here for you guys. Right? Hold on. I'll do this for you guys right here and now. Okay, go to Twitter and search. Go recruitment challenge. Just straight up recruitment challenge in the search bar. And go latest. Then you're gonna get some weird stuff. Arc region. They're a really small organization. They're having a recruitment challenge. There's gonna be. Look, is there a way that I can like? We'll go to top, right? There's a lot of new stuff, but we're not gonna talk about it. Tier Team 1, they're having a recruitment challenge. They have 3,000 followers. You know what I mean? Ignite is having a recruitment challenge. I've never heard of them before, but they have 11K followers. So, might be worth a shot.
Yep.
All these people are being, hey, should we do a recruitment challenge? Recruitment challenge. And then this guy's like, hey, yo, I'm in top, I was top 100 for FaZe.
FaZe was really the team that popularized recruitment
Yeah.
challenges.
See, look at this guy right here. He's founder of Envious Invading. What team that is? I don't know. It's a Middle Eastern team, 1,500 followers. They're doing a recruitment challenge. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many recruitment challenges that are going to be going on here in the next few months. And if you guys want to get in on them, go ahead. Even if you don't want to be part of the organization, I mean, you probably should want to be part of the organization. You're going to participate in one of their recruitment challenges. But even if you don't win, you know what I mean? It's more of an insight. Maybe you can gain some more followers. Maybe you can, network with some more people. And I think that's probably the most important part is just networking and meeting new people through these recruitment challenges. And I think that's the best part of them. I think that's what a lot of people miss with recruitment challenges is it's a great opportunity to meet people and make new friends and learn. And it's a learning experience. Life is such a big learning experience and people don't take advantage of it. Like me personally, I learned a lot from watching these other I've been watching some of them. I want to watch through the top 100 recruitment, their submission videos just to like see and then their next ones. I'm trying to stay on top of it, but I just don't have the time to watch them because I'm so freaking I'm working all the time. It's great. But like, take notes. Be like, oh, that's really cool. I want to try that in my stream, or I want to try that in my videos. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how would he do that? And here at the Climb Together podcast, if you have questions like that, we can help you. If you see a video and you're like, hey, how'd this man do that? Because like that's freaking insane. We can try to help you, whether it's editing or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty well versed in the editing and graphic design and camera field. I don't know how well Deception is, but I am pretty well versed. I took a whole course on it for like a year. Took a course on video production. So, yeah.
Video production.
Yeah, man. So, if you guys have any questions like that, you can ask them right now. You can ask them in comment sections of the YouTube video or on our Go Live tweets. We'll answer them to the best of our ability. But, yeah, I mean, Deception, anything else you want to talk about for a little bit? We have a little bit of time.
I mean, I just really enjoyed watching Optic come back on top for the major. Felt good. especially if they're being their home major. But I
Yeah.
mean, they earned it. They played so well. Didn't lose a series. It was great. But
Ooh, yo, okay. This is actually I just saw this. Get Wet put
oh
this
Lord,
out a second ago on Twitter, but I feel like I should share this with you
okay.
guys. Oh, fudge nuggets. I feel like I should share this with you guys because this is actually really important, and we're in the gaming industry, and we're in the streamers and everything, and this is this is actually really serious. Um, so, I have in front of me a list of uh products on recall from the what is it? The
I
USDA
just
website.
saw that.
This is from the USDA website. These are products that are on recall. These are beef jerky companies, right? If you see any beef jerky companies that you're working with currently on this recall list, that it's the product type. You got some cracked pepper, black pepper, old fashioned mango. There's a lot for each one, um, and a lot of like repeat names you see down here. So, you might want to like Smokehouse Jerky Co. It's a serious thing when you have a company, and I know a lot of people when they want to like have a sponsor, or they want to have like they have like want an affiliation code. They don't want to like be with someone that they don't support, and seeing all these names, it's really seeing like names over and over and over again. So
I see Killer Jerky multiple times.
yep. There's a lot of them. You use Ranchview, Jerky Co. You see a couple times here at Humboldt's. You see a lot. I've seen them most Humboldt.
Getting
They're
the
in literally every
stereotype.
single. They're in every single category almost. Um,
Yeah. Foods that give you listeria are definitely not good.
yeah. So this is just like a heads up to any of you guys. I feel like I need to share that because I know a lot of creators watch this, so or listen to it. So I feel like that I needed to share the information that was given to me by Twitter.
Yeah.
So, just in case you guys weren't aware, that's why I don't do beef jerky. I try not to do food companies because of that. Sometimes you can't really control recalls, but sometimes you can. It just depends on your supplier. Also, I don't like beef jerky. Beef jerky.
What?
I don't like beef jerky. I'm not a meat person. I
I
don't
love
like
beef
any
jerky.
other meat other than like chicken. That's like the only meat I like, and then sometimes I'm
God,
like
you
any other
just
food.
tell me, even though all of those products have been recalled for listeria, so I definitely will not be buying those. Just seeing all kinds of beef jerky companies made me hungry.
Oh my.
I love beef jerky, man.
I don't like it. Sometimes I'm like, hey, like there's some beef jerky, I should buy it, and every time I do buy it, I'm like, I don't like this. This is gross. I don't like this. But it's whatever. I'm more of like, I was vegetarian for
What
a
if
few
they made
years.
chicken jerky?
Chicken jerky, maybe. I
That's
don't know.
possible.
I know it's possible, and maybe I'd have to try it. I've never tried it, but I'm just not I'm not a meat person. I was vegetarian for like 2.5, 3 years, and I actually loved it. Like I really loved it. Like I was also like swimming, so I was like I was in probably the best shape of my life at like 14. So I was vegetarian. I was swimming all the time. I was working out all the time. Like I was in the best physical shape of my life. And now like
Yep.
I eat vegan most of the time anyway, and like sometimes I don't, but most of the time I do, and I like it. I like I like veganism. I like a plant
You
based
like
diet.
not eating meat?
Yeah, I do sometimes though. Like I splurge
I
a little
couldn't
bit,
do it. I
but
could not do
the
it.
vegetarian
I have to
lifestyle,
have
I like
meat.
it.
I have to have meat, man.
You have to have meat. But the thing is
Yeah.
like I would go vegetarian again or even vegan, but like when I go to people's houses or like I go see people, it's a little bit harder restricting on them too. It's kind of like an inconvenience to them as well because they're like, hey, can you even eat this? And I'm like, no, get me something else. And I don't want to be like that, so I just kind of
Yep.
like I'm a
That's fair. That's fair.
On weekdays I'm a vegan. On weekends I'm not. That's kind of what's going on. I'm a part-time vegan. Not really like. Not really like a. It's not a
Put that in
diet
your
really.
Twitter bio. Part-time vegan.
Part-time vegan. I'm gonna change it right now. Low key. I'm going to. Uh, and
Oh
then
man.
part-time vegan. Vegan. Vegan.
Vegan.
Vegan. Vegan. Part-time vegan. I gotta change my banner. Hold on, I just want to see my grandma's.
No. I have to carry the podcast. Alright, but yeah. I mean, this whole like beef jerky situation is not good. Um, if anybody doesn't know what listeria is, I'll look it up for you.
What's hysteria?
So, you don't know what listeria is?
Nope.
Okay, so we're not gonna go into the Wikipedia thing because it's all about sciencey stuff that like nobody really truly understands. But Listeria is a genus of bacteria that acts as an intercellular parasite in mammals. Okay,
Okay.
but
We're mammals, by the way.
bottom line is okay. People also ask what happens if you get Listeria. Listeriosis can cause mild flu-like symptoms such as fever, chills, muscle aches, and diarrhea or upset stomach. You
Ew.
may also have a stiff neck, headache, confusion, or loss of balance. Symptoms may appear as late as 2 months after you have eaten something with listeria.
Oh, so it's like it's not like a sudden thing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They also
Okay.
said many pregnant women never have symptoms, so.
Interesting. Yo, I just got 2 of these in a row. Are you kidding me? 5
What
followers.
is it?
5 followers. 5 followers.
No.
Want to become famous? 5 followers and viewers. No, thank you. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Speaking of goodbyes, I think it's time we wrap up today's podcast. We got a lot. We're gonna try to like do a couple of new things next week, make it a little bit less Call of Duty and make it more like not less Call of Duty League and a little bit more some other stuff. We've got a couple things that we're trying to get. We have a little plans that we're trying to plan a little bit more
Yep.
so they can come to fruition for you guys. We're really trying to make the Come Together podcast pretty lit. But
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you guys are new, make sure you guys follow, subscribe, like, whatever you can do on whatever platform you're at. Check out the other episodes of the podcast if you haven't already. Hopefully by the time this
Oh,
one's uploaded everywhere else, the rest of them will be uploaded everywhere else too. I'm working on that. Okay, I'm just a little bit.
Tone,
Yo.
we have breaking news.
Oh, what's the breaking news?
London Royal Ravens have signed Paul X on a 2-week contract. He'll be filling
Oh,
in for Gizmo, who's flying home for personal reasons. Gizmo is expected to return for next week's matches.
okay. Interesting.
So this week they'll be playing with Paul X, but next week Gizmo will be back. I mean, Paul X is not a stranger to London, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it'll be that bad. I just hope they hopefully win whatever series they have to play this week.
True.
So unless it's against Optic, then sad. Sorry, London.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Interesting. Good thing we got that. Like, usually do that right after we end the podcast. So I'm glad that we
Yeah, it's
finally
like
caught
last
that.
week. That's like last week, right after we ended the podcast. It was announced that Maven and Merc were coming back. So
Yeah. So I'm glad.
literally right when we ended it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we stuck it out another minute. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week on Wednesday, 12 p.m. EST. We actually every week, 12 p.m. EST on Wednesdays. With the podcast on twitch.tv/Deception the Rapper and twitch.tv/Toners_Scorp. And yeah, we will see you guys then. Or if you guys watch elsewhere, we appreciate you as well. And thank you so much. We will see you next time. Anything to say, Deception?
I mean, I think we covered everything. I think we're good.
Alrighty. See you guys next time. Peace.